Hey, it's Adam Lavelle from WrestlingDoneRight.com, the wrestling snob, the old man wrestling fan, the creator of the intelligent internet wrestling community, and I'm here to talk about day 2 of the N1 tournament from Pro Wrestling Noah. This happened on August 9th, 2024, Korakuen Hall. Some big matches to discuss. The first one was an on-tournament match. It's all Ninja Mac versus Alejandro versus Junta Miyawaki in a triple threat match, which was your typical triple threat match. Ninja Mac pretty much controlled this whole thing. That's not saying this was a squash by any means. Miyawaki and Alejandro are very good wrestlers in and of themselves, but Ninja Mac controlled this and won it quickly in about 6 minutes, which kind of surprised me. He's on his way out the door, not fired or anything. He's leaving Noah, from what I understand. I have feelers out to him. I do talk to him from time to time. Haven't heard what's up with him, if he's going anywhere in particular, or if his tour is just over and he'll be back later. I don't know. But he looked good here, worked this match extremely well, hit all his moves. They looked crisp and clean, and he gets the big win. I don't know how much longer he's here, but with time winding down, it looks like he's winning his way out the door. We'll have to keep an eye on that for sure. The second match from N1 on August 9, 2024 in Korakuen Hall was a good one. Josh Briggs, the NXT star, if you will, shipped over to Pro Wrestling Noah by the WWE, took on Atsushi Katogi, who wasn't even supposed to be in this tournament, but is replacing an injured Goji Ozaki. Actually wore Goji Ozaki's ring jacket out. You know, it was 3 sizes too big for him, but it looked cool. He was wearing his jacket, the man who he's replacing, the superstar, the main player, one of the top main events in Noah, Goji Ozaki. Katogi is always determined, carries that Noah flag with him, which is cool. I like flags. I'm a big fan of professional wrestling flags. I've got numerous hanging up here in my studio that you don't see on camera when I put myself on camera, which, as you can tell here, I'm just using my little avatar to represent myself here to make my uploads faster and what have you. This match was a quick one too. It was quicker than the Ninja Mac Alejandro Miyawaki match. This match was just under 6 minutes. That's all the longer it took old big Josh Briggs to dispose of Katogi. Katogi did what he always does, and that is hang tough. Not for long, but he kicked out of a power bomb, a choke slam power bomb. Briggs picked this guy up, picked Katogi up in a choke slam, dropped him, and caught him in a power bomb on his way down, and Katogi kicked out. But it was a clothesline from hell, gifted him from JBL, from what I understand, that took Katogi out of his boots and through the canvas, through the wood, through the padding, down to the floor. Not literally, but you get the picture, right? As Josh Briggs wins his second G1 tournament in a row. Briggs is looking incredible in Japan. I don't watch NXT, but from what I understand, I have gone back and watched some YouTube clips now. From what I understand, he didn't really show much personality in NXT. He was kind of boring, kind of flat, kind of dull. But man, he's a different guy. And no, I'm not saying he's electrifying or anything like that, but he really has a lot of swagger. He carries himself like a champion. He carries himself like everybody he wrestles better be afraid of him. And it comes across that way. I guess it helps that he's winning. I don't know how much NXT put the guy over, but he's gone over 2 times in a row here in Noah. And this one pretty quickly, like I said, just a little more than 5.5 minutes here for him to get the win on Katogi. Curious to see where Briggs goes in this tournament. I'm not predicting a victory necessarily, but man, he's looking good. Katogi, not so much. But again, he wasn't prepared to be in this, so I can't really fault him too much. He's much smaller than Briggs, but most of us are. But just didn't look great. I mean, like I said, he hung tough for those 5 minutes. Kicked out of a moves that amazed me, but just eventually fell prey to the big man, Josh Briggs. Excellent match. I really enjoyed it. Continuing night 2 of the N1 tournament from Pro Wrestling Noah in Korakuen Hall on August 9, 2024. Match number 3 was Yoshiki Inamura taking on Alpha Wolf. Now, Yoshiki Inamura is coming off of a loss, kind of surprisingly. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say surprisingly. Oka Sasaki is a great wrestler. He's just much smaller and nowhere near as big, tough, strong, and powerful as Inamura is here. But still, he's coming off a loss, and he's taking on Alpha Wolf, coming off a major win, upsetting the former GHC heavyweight champion Wagner Jr., I'm talking, of course, about Alpha Wolf. So Alpha Wolf versus Yoshiki Inamura here. Two big guys really tore into each other. I say that a lot, but when you get two large men, two big specimen, two bull of the woods in the ring together, that's just what you're going to see, and that is what you saw here. Alpha Wolf doing things to Yoshiki Inamura I didn't think anybody could do to Yoshiki Inamura. I mean, just power bombing, jumping off the top rope with him, suplexing him off the top rope, moving him around in a way I just didn't think it was possible to move Yoshiki Inamura around. But of course, Inamura gave it right back to Alpha Wolf. I mean, again, power bombs and two big top rope splashes. One of them hit the knees of Alpha Wolf, and I thought Inamura was done in there, but he managed to survive. That came back and hit that big splash again off of the top rope, looking like Jimmy Superfly Snuka, 150 pounds heavier. I mean, Inamura is the man. That's why I was kind of surprised he lost his opening match. I think he's going to eventually be a big deal in Noah. He's not a small deal now. He's a great wrestler, and I'm a big fan of his. I like Alpha Wolf too, but I'm going to be honest, I really like Alpha Wolf with Dragon Bane as a tag team. Not because they're bad single wrestlers. They're absolutely not. They're great, and I'm excited to see them continue on in this tournament. But I love them as a team. They're just perfect. Great big-sized guy with a medium-sized guy. That's a perfect tag team. When you've got a mix and a match in such a way that just works beautifully, and those two do. But again, I like seeing them in the singles tournament here in the N1. It looked like several times that Alpha Wolf had this one, but Inamura storms back, overcomes. He had to win this. I mean, he was only 0-1. This is only night 2 of the tournament, but this tournament isn't super long, and you can't afford a bunch of losses. So it was nice to see Inamura bounce back and get the win over Alpha Wolf. Again, a very enjoyable match. All of these matches have been good, including the opening 3-way matchup, and I'm not a fan of 3-ways. This is what Pro Wrestling Noah is. It uses good psychology. Good psychology where the matches make sense and are built in such a way that they are as believable as pro wrestling can be. And they match their guys up beautifully. This was a beautiful matchup. It worked wonderfully. A guy who got a kind of a surprising win in Alpha Wolf, and a guy who got kind of a surprising loss in Inamura, and both of them wanted to win this, but possible that Alpha Wolf was just hyped up too much from beating Wagner Jr., and Inamura was hyped up just enough after coming off a loss to Saki, or how do you say his name? Olka Sasaki. Forgive me, guys. It's not hard to pronounce, but I still get tongue-tied sometimes. That's my nature. Blame it on me being the old man wrestling fan, stumbling around with my words. But this was a terrific matchup. Only the third match of this beautiful wrestling night. Next up in the N1 Victory Tournament from Pro Wrestling Noah on August 9th, 2024 at Korakuen Hall. The fourth match was Luis Monte from Dragon Gate, straight out of Mexico to Dragon Gate, and then a hop and a skip and a jump over to Pro Wrestling Noah's N1 tournament. Takes on Masa Kitamiya. Look, there's no secret that Kitamiya is one of my favorites. I love this guy. He's a Samoa Joe type guy. I'm not comparing them directly, but I always like to throw something like that out in case there's somebody listening, watching this video who doesn't know who these wrestlers are. That's a shame. But we don't fault you here. You can come aboard the Ark at any time, and you won't want to leave once you're on board this Ark. It keeps you safe from the choppy, nasty-ass waters of other professional wrestling organizations, which, like I said, have not officially invaded. It's not like an NWO storyline, but they have come in as Luis Monte and come into this N1 Victory Tournament. He looks good. I don't know what I think of the guy. I mean, he's a solid wrestler, but I don't know. His look is, he just doesn't look like the kind of wrestler I would greatly enjoy. He looks like some Rico Suave type dude with a see-through shirt that he actually ripped off during this match because I think some buttons popped off or something. His see-through shirt and his pleather leather pants against the man, Masa Kitamiya, that looks like he should kill this guy. And for much of this match, this almost 13-minute match, Masa Kitamiya controlled this. I mean, Monte, if he misses his aerial moves, if he misses those luchador moves off the top rope, over the top rope, suicide dives, tope suicidas, he's in trouble. And he missed quite a few of them. And I don't mean like he botched them. I mean, Masa Kitamiya was like having none of it. Basically getting out of the way and allowing this guy to fall on his face, on his back, on his head. And Our commentators, Mark Pickering and Stu Fulton, commented that they were kind of surprised at just how much control Masa Kitamiya showed here. I was not, but then these guys know Monte. They're making a big deal out of him. Apparently, he's a former Open, the Dragon Gate champion. I've never understood their titles over there in Dragon Gate, what level that is. I have no idea. Open this gate, open that gate. I don't watch Dragon Gate. I don't know. I'm not insulting it. I just don't know it. Ultimately, I don't really care about this guy. I know it's supposed to be a showcase for him. It's supposed to be an opportunity for Noah to have a big star that's outside their company to come in. But I'm not excited by this guy. But he wins this. He beats Masa Kitamiya after basically a pretty rough-looking Frankensteiner. But he manages to hold Kitamiya down. Kitamiya took a lot of punishment from this guy towards the end of the match and did what only Kitamiya can do, pound his chest and roar as if nothing harms him. He got Luis Monte in prison lock, slowed him down with that move, but ultimately, like I said, Monte came back in desperation, the final, 3 minutes of this match or so. And I'm not saying Monte dominated it, but he sort of came to life, nailed several of his moves, and the last one, that sloppy-looking Frankensteiner, held Kitamiya down for the 3 count. This match was fine. It's far from my favorite match of the night. It's far from my favorite match of the tournament. And Kitamiya is possibly my favorite wrestler, and Noah, him, and Keno. But this match, I just don't feel, I thought this was a styles clash. It wasn't sloppy. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't really for me. Like if I had to rate it, if you twisted my arm like out of 5 stars, I would give it a 3.5. And I'm only doing that because I want you to understand that I didn't hate it. It wasn't like a mess or anything. This match just wasn't for me, even though it had one of my favorite guys in Kitamiya in it. Just goes that way sometimes, I guess. Hey, let's talk about match 5 from the N1 tournament, night 2, Korakuen Hall Pro Wrestling Noah 8-man tag team matchup. Asuka, Eita, Hayata, and Shuji Kondo took on Daga, Kai Fujimura, Super Crazy, and Yu Owada. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Why is Hayata teaming with Asuka, Eita, and Kondo when he just shook hands with part of this team, the opposing team here tonight? Now, Ogawa isn't here, but he shook hands with Daga. He shook hands with Super Crazy. Now he's teaming against them again? Well, he did, and the match went pretty well. Of course, Asuka, Eita, Hayata, and Shuji Kondo win it when the Shuji Kondo takes out Yu Owada rather easily. I mean, Shuji Kondo is the toughest, biggest, most badass junior heavyweight in the world. Next to impossible to stop when he's in there with another junior heavyweight. I'm not saying Shuji isn't a junior heavyweight, but good Lord, if I was a junior heavyweight, I wouldn't want to be facing him, and that's what it came down to. Now, I'm breezing over this match. It was entertaining. It was fun for what it was. I mean, 4-on-4. Again, 9 people in the ring. You all know by now I'm not crazy about that. It's just a bunch of mass insanity a lot of the times. Guys in there like crazy, tags hard to keep up with. The refs in Noah are the best, so they take as well of control of a match like this as you'll see in any wrestling organization in the world. They're going to take better control, so that helps. But it's still kind of craziness. I watch it because they're fun. They're just a nice little break. I don't really need a break. I could watch N1 tournament matches year-round, 365 days a year. They're just awesome. But this is a nice match, and it's a fun little sidestep away from the tournament. The good guys win it, so the question I asked just a minute ago about Hayata is answered here. He is going back. He's sort of backing away from shaking the hands of Ogawa, Super Crazy, Daga, because he actually has to be saved here by none other than his former tag team partner. Going back away is Yohei, and you know who else I'm going to say, right? Yeah, Tadasuke. We're talking about, what, 3/4 of the Rattels here? Hayata thanks them, embraces them, and poses with them. Yeah, 3/4 of the Rattels are here, back together after all these years. Great stuff. I mean, I can't wait to see where this goes, for sure. I mean, we know we're not getting Daisuke Harada back. He retired a short while ago, but What's to say he couldn't make an appearance with him? Maybe he could serve as some kind of second or manager. I'm not predicting that. I don't know what Ararat is doing since retiring last year, like March of 2023. It's been well over a year. We're getting close to 2 years. So he may be completely out of wrestling. I have no idea. Maybe someone like Kaisami might know. But still, we got 3/4 of a group back that was wildly popular back when they first formed quite some time ago. But they were very influential. They were very, their merch sold. So will we ever see them called that again? Possibly not, since Harada can't be a part of it. And he was pretty much their leader, I believe. But again, this was another interesting matchup in the middle of an N1 show that ended in a way that piqued your interest, got you on the edge of your seat, got you asking questions. That seems to be the theme Noah's going with these multi-men matches. It's like, don't go to the bathroom during these matches. I guess if you miss some of the wrestling, it won't be the end of the world, but you never know what's going to happen here, especially when these match ends. There's been 3 of them so far in 2 nights, and all 3 have had really interesting, fun endings. I like it. The 6th match from Noah's N1 tournament, and this was on August 9th, 2024 at Korakuen Hall, was a very good match. Now, I sound like a broken record. I love Noah matches. If there's a Noah match I don't absolutely love, it's a rare thing. And I'll be honest, when it happens, it's just not going to be often. But El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. versus Oka Sasaki was excellent. Big, strong, flying lucha guy versus a smaller former UFC fighter. Big guy versus smaller guy dynamics here done very well. Wagner Jr. tossed Sasaki around at will for the most part. Sasaki did a few top rope moves that I'm not used to seeing from him, I suspect, in an effort to keep up or maybe surprise the luchador. One time in this match, Wagner got in trouble when he does that little move where he gets his opponent in the corner, walks out of the corner, turns his back on his opponent, sort of psychs himself up, and then personally turns his head around toward his opponent. Just sort of a gimmick kind of thing where people look forward to doing it. And when he did it, Sasaki took his back and almost choked him out and won the match. He didn't. Wagner got out of it, but I loved how Mark Pickering and Stu Fulton pointed that out. You don't turn your back on an MMA guy like Sasaki. And to his credit, El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. never turned his back on Sasaki the rest of the match. It's little things like that that mean the world to me in wrestling. Where stupidity is countered, it doesn't work, and the wrestler learns his lesson. That is called psychology. Do you understand what I'm saying? Look, psychology in wrestling is when you try to make wrestling make sense, when you try to fit it into a legitimate fighting mold. Can you do that 100% of the time in wrestling? No, not really, because there are some over-the-top things in wrestling. But I'm telling you what, the psychology of Noah matches, you're not going to see that much. You are not going to see over-the-top, dopey, silly things for the most part. Maybe occasionally in a junior match. Maybe occasionally in like some stipulation match, like a hardcore match or something. But in these everyday, normal one-on-one matches, you are not going to see hokiness in pro wrestling, Noah, and God bless them for it. It's what my wrestling heart needs. It what makes the blood flow through my veins for a professional wrestling lover. And I love this stuff. And I've been away from Noah for about 6 months trying to get into the WWE since Triple H took over. And I learned my lesson. I got slapped in the face. I'm back with Noah watching matches like El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., the former GHC national champion, the former GHC heavyweight champion, and Oka Sasaki, the current GHC national champion. And it's somewhat of a styles clash, but it was beautifully done. They gelled terrifically, and Dr. Wagner Jr. overcomes in the end, defeating the very difficult to defeat the Oka Sasaki, the hottest rookie, one of the hottest rookies in all of wrestling, the absolute hottest rookie in pro wrestling. No, I think Pickering and Fulton said on commentary that Sasaki's only had 11 single matches. And he's the national champion. He is a national treasure is what he is. He's incredible. So for Dr. Wagner Jr. to lose his first match against Alpha Wolf, shocker, come back and beat an excellent tactician like Oka Sasaki. Man, this is what Wrestling Done Right is. Loved it. If you don't love this, I don't know what to tell you. Go watch that other crap. Hey, continuing on with the N1 Night 2 in Kurikan Hall from Pro Wrestling Noah, we had a very fast-paced matchup that saw Jack Morris take on Dragon Bane. Jack Morris needed this win more, and he got it. Yeah, I'm spoiling it already, but he had to have this win. But let me tell you what, man. Old Dragon Bane made Jack Morris work like a wild man to get this win. Dragon Bane had the band tuned up, and he was hitting every move that he had in his playbook. Off the top rope, between the ropes, under the ropes, around the ropes, rolling, spinning, kicking, diving. I mean, I don't want to make this sound like an American match because this was a Pro Wrestling Noah match, but Dragon Bane is one of the fastest, most aerialistic, stylistic wrestlers in Pro Wrestling Noah, and he had it going big time. He rocked Jack Morris. Jack Morris is a future GHC heavyweight champion unless AEW or WWE sign him away before that happens. I'm convinced that is happening down the road, and I suspect no more than 2 years. I see this guy at the top of this promotion. He is that good. I told you I've already compared him as being a combination of Al Perez, Rick Rude, and Bret Hart, and I believe that. Is he at the prime of those three? No. But do I see flashes of those three wrestlers, three of the best wrestlers of all time, in Jack Morris? Yes, I do. But Dragon Bane, he is a lucha star of all lucha stars. He's up there with any other lucha you can name today. And yes, I'm serious. I mean, he may not be Rey Mysterio in his prime, but he's pretty damn good and only getting better. And watching him, I mean, he basically disified Jack Morris. He got Jack Morris off his game and kept him off his game for 90% of this match. He controlled it. At one point, Jack Morris had some eye condition. I don't know, maybe just had an eyelash in it or a piece of dirt or something, but it was irritating him for quite a bit. I liked how Stu and Mark pointed out on commentary that you need both your eyeballs when you're wrestling someone like Dragon Bane. Hell, you need eyeballs in the back of your head when you're wrestling Dragon Bane, but it did seem to clear up for him. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention, as these two made their entrance in this matchup, an earthquake hit Kurikan Hall. Yes, an earthquake. Apparently it wasn't a terrible one, but Stu and Mark, again, on commentary, said it was very noticeable. Their table was shaking. They were shaking. It was clearly that the ground was a-moving. Now, of course, it wasn't so bad that two wrestlers making their entrances to music and applause and screams and such didn't really notice it. But the referee did go and inform both of them, just in case it would have gotten worse. You know, I mean, they were on the 5th floor, Mark Pickering pointed out. The 5th floor of Kurikan Hall in the midst of a Japanese earthquake. Thankfully, it was mild and it didn't get any worse. But I know this is the first wrestling show I have ever been watching that had an earthquake happen during a match or during the entrance of the match. But anyhow, again, Morris had to take everything Dragon Bane kicked out. And this is where Morris's greatness came in, because he did. He kicked out of every move Dragon Bane hit him with, and let me tell you, Bane hit him with everything in the kitchen sink. Now, Dragon Bane managed to stay with it with all of Jack Morris's moves, but not nearly as well. This is what led to the pinfall. Whenever Jack Morris finally hit that driver, that tiger driver that he uses, it was over. When he hits that on you, and that's another thing I love about Noah, they don't mess around with their finishers too often. I'm not saying there's never a bunch of kickouts. I'm not saying that finishers are never kicked out of. I'm not saying that. But the story of this match was, to me, Dragon Bane not just surviving, but dominating Jack Morris, controlling this matchup and avoiding that tiger driver. And so long as he avoided that, he would have a chance of winning. But in the end, he was caught in it. And it started when Bane came off the top rope with a flip, with a senton or something. I can't remember which move it was. And old Jack Morris got his knees up. He didn't take total control of the match at that point, talking about Morris, but he took more control of it than he's had the entire time. Slowed Dragon Bane down, which was another key issue in this match. He had to slow him down. He did that, hit the Tiger Driver just a minute or two after that, and wins it 1, 2, 3 for his first 2 points. Dragon Bane remains at 2 points, of course, but this was another excellent match that I highly recommend. You're going to like it. I almost guarantee it. My God, what a match I just watched. I'm talking about the continuation of Night 2 N1 Victory Tournament Pro Wrestling Noah in Korak and Hall on August 9th. Keno, multi-time GHC Heavyweight Champion, Tag Team Champion. He is the ace of that company, or one of them for sure. Took on a new guy I knew next to nothing about, Titus Alexander. I saw Titus Alexander beat the NXT kid in Night 1, whose name is slipping my mind, even though I like him very much. But I didn't know. I had to look him up, and apparently he's from the West Coast, out there, California, Portland, Oregon, Washington area, states, if you will. And a lot of people out there, West Coast Pro, I think he worked there, know him and put him over and have talked to me about him and say he's as legit as they come. And boy, did he prove that in this match, folks. If you didn't see this match, this is absolutely 100% wrestling done right, must-see match. Again, it's the semi-main event from Korakuen Hall on August 9th, 2024. N1 Victory Tournament matchup. Keno versus Titus Alexander. Look this baby up. Cage Match is giving it a 7.65 based on 54 votes. That's insane. It's insane. This is a 9.65. This is wrestling perfection. I mean, I'm not going to call it Ric Flair versus Ricky Steamboat, but my God, it is close in the modern era. This Titus Alexander just went toe-to-toe with one of the best wrestlers in the world, Keno, and it had me just salivating at how good it was. I mean, I love wrestling done right, and this was the epitome of it. Keno could not gain control of this match. He tried. Neither guy had control at all. This was a back and forth, beat 'em up, smash mouth, take everything to the wall that you have and see what sticks against your opponent. And both of these guys took brutal punishment and kept on going. These guys, you want to see fighting spirit, then you have to see this match. You want to see King's Road wrestling, then you have to see this match. You want to see the kind of match that gets me out of bed in the morning and makes me sit in front of my computer on my 32-inch screens, leaning in on my elbows, watching pro wrestling, Noah. You have to see this match. Again, Keno, little cocky, thought he was going to take care of this kid, not quickly, but the goal of these guys, everybody in the N1, is to win as quickly as they can so you don't exhaust yourself. This is a long, grueling, painful tournament. So Keno wants to take this kid out, wants to take him down, and he gets more and more frustrated as time goes on because Alexander's not only not being taken down, he is coming close to taking Keno down. Keno came close to being pinned numerous times. The fans here, okay, when the Japanese fans get loud and boisterous, you know it's a big damn deal, and they were. They were super into this match. They were louder than I'm ever used to hearing a Japanese crowd. They knew they were seeing something special. And this is match of the tournament so far, in my opinion. It's only the second night for me here. Still behind, but wow. In the end, Keno pulls out victory from the jaws of defeat. I mean, everybody thought Alexander had this one. He gained fans big time here. Titus Alexander became a wrestling star on August 9th, 2024, and Korakuen Hall, of all places. Damn. Must-see match of the year contender. The only reason that people won't consider this match of the year, it was only 16 minutes long. I'm fine with that. I am the kind of guy who does not need long wrestling matches for them to be considered great or even match of the year. 16 minutes of back and forth, non-stop action between two of the best athletes I have ever seen in my life is worthy of match of the year consideration to me. I mean, I'll just continue to repeat myself praising this match. But this was the story of Keno, the legend, the long-time, many-time champion of Noah, being taken to school by a kid from the west coast of the United States named Titus Alexander. And while, please don't get me wrong, Keno looked like $1 million here. He just wasn't putting the kid away until he finally does it at the end. Was his professional foot stomp. The PFS comes off the top rope, takes the kid out, and wins it 1, 2, 3. But afterwards, Keno shakes this kid's hand, points to the crowd as if to say, listen to this. Listen to what you have accomplished here. Keno gives Titus Alexander a ton of credit, applauds him, points to him, and we're talking about the loser of the contest here. There was no loser here. The fans won. Keno won. putting this kid over big time, and Titus Alexander won, even though he came up short against one of the greatest wrestlers going today. He proved himself as being worthy and belonging. Of that, there is no doubt. And if you miss this match, I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. If you can watch this and not realize everything I say about Noah is absolutely true, it is wrestling done right. It is the kind of wrestling those of us who miss old school wrestling need. This is the closest you're going to get to Mid-South. Georgia Championship Wrestling. Jim Crockett. World class. Right here is the closest you're going to get in pro wrestling Noah, where, Tony Khan can say he has where the best wrestle, and the WWE can say yesterday, today, forever, whatever that slogan is. But let me tell you, you can say whatever you want to say. Noah proves it in the ring every freaking match, and this was the cherry on top, bitch. The main event. We are up to the main event of the N1 Victory Tournament, day number 2, Korakuen Hall, August 9th, 2024. And what a damn main event it was. Kaito Kiyomiya, the current GHC heavyweight champion, the ace of Noah. I know I said that about Keno, but I put him up there too. The battling aces, if you will. But no, Kiyomiya here would face Iowa, Rohei Iowa. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing his first name. I have a hard time with Japanese names, no matter how much I love these guys. And this match was 30 minutes of pure perfection. That's right, it was a draw. This match went to a 30-minute draw. Don't skip it, damn it. This is wrestling perfection. Keno and Titus Alexander was as well. The last 2 matches of this show just has me in wrestling nirvana, baby. Wrestling nirvana. It is wrestling heaven. These two worked a match against each other. Do you hear what I'm saying? They worked a match. This wasn't a spot fest. This wasn't, a performance. This wasn't sports entertainment. This was wrestling. Kaito worked Iowa's leg the whole entire match. Iowa worked Kaito's arm the whole entire match. All of their moves worked on a plan for each one to subdue and submit the other. And it was beautiful. You just don't see wrestling like this anymore. Now, am I saying there's no good wrestling? No. I like Gunther. I like Braun Breaker. I like a lot of modern guys, even though I don't watch much modern stuff. I just came off of about a 4-month run of watching WWE regularly. They had some great stuff, but they proved to me that they're really not the company for me, even without old shithead McMahon. Now, granted, they're much improved, but still way too entertaining, and they're always going to be. That's what they're about. Their fans demand entertainment, cinema, drama, right? And there's nothing wrong with a little bit of that in wrestling, but this match was what I'm talking about. This match was about a young guy, right? Iowa. Not that Kiyomiya is a least bit old, but Iowa came in from New Japan, trying to rise to the top of this company, teamed with Kaito Kiyomiya and won the tag league. They were set. They could be tag team champions. They could rule Noah as the tag team champions. But instead, Kiyomiya pretty much abandoned Iowa. He didn't spit on him. There was no big angle where they fought or anything like that. But Kiyomiya pretty much went back to the singles route and recaptured the GHC Heavyweight Championship. And Iowa was kind of annoyed at that. I was like, screw you. I'll go into this N1, wrestle you, wrestle everybody, rise to the top, and challenge you for your single GHC Championship that you wanted so badly. That's the story, if you will. As you can watch my WWE videos, you'll hear me clearly state numerous times that I hate the word story. I don't care if Eric Bischoff and Booker T and Conan and all these guys use the word story. I don't like it. Wrestling isn't about stories. Wrestling is about angles. What is an angle? What's the difference? There's a big difference between a love triangle and a pissed off former partner feeling abandoned by his partner and jumping into a tournament to take him on and try to win it so he can face him in the end. You see, that's a wrestling angle. That tells you why these two guys are fighting. That tells you what part of the story, the angle is of this whole entire tournament. There's many of them in this tournament. This is one of them. It tells you why these two guys may not like each other and be fighting. This is beautiful. This is an angle. This is what wrestling is about or should be. But in modern days, when wrestling is all about reaching out to those who want to call it a male soap opera, or even as Paul Levesque, Triple H, called the WWE a movie about a sport, no, Noah is a sport. It's presented as a combat sport, damn it. Court Bauer and MLW used to get that wrestling was a combat sport or should be presented as such. And he walked away from it and gave it up, and now it's as big a clown show as any other American wrestling organization. So thank you, Noah, for giving me all these matches, especially these last 2 in a row, taking nothing away from the other ones. I loved them all as I'm looking back over them. This show was a 10 out of 10 for me. I'm not easy to please, but I loved everything about this show. And the main event was absolutely the cherry on top, as I've said before. This is the creme de la creme of what wrestling is supposed to look like, in my opinion. And Keno and Titus Alexander took us to near climax, and Kiyomiya and Iowa put us over the top with it, baby. This is what I want to see. This is why I can sit and watch Noah hours after hour after hour. This is why I can say every other wrestling can go screw itself, even though there's still companies I will watch. This wrestling makes me happy. This show was awesome. These matches were awesome. And if you miss wrestling done right, like I have desperately missed since all the territories went out of business and WCW fell, Pro Wrestling Noah is what you're looking for, I promise. I'm Adam Lavelle of WrestlingDoneRight.com. I'll be back to review the next show as soon as I can, guys. I don't know how fast I'm going to be able to do this, but I'm going to do it as quick as I can because I want to catch up so desperately. Holy crap. Watch these shows. Watch Pro Wrestling Noah and have pro wrestling done right once again.